Are you trying to make your homeschool a little bit more fun without sacrificing the substance of your homeschool? If so, come along, we're going to talk about it. Hi, my name is Amanda from Learning to Love Well, and this is a channel dedicated to homeschool, the practical biblical encouragement for those homeschool mamas who are trying to make it through the long haul of taking care of their kids and homeschooling and doing all of the things. We are currently in a different room. I am using one of my children's rooms because it's the only room you're not going to hear all of the showers and all of those things taking place that are currently going on. I didn't have time to film tonight. I was supposed to film last night, but I wasn't feeling that great. We just got over flu A, praise God, and I'm still having days where I'm not feeling 100% completely up and going, but it is what it is. Take one step at a time and we will get there. So if you are trying to make your homeschool more enjoyable, this is such a tricky thing because balancing sometimes the curriculum and the things that you have to teach versus the things that you want to teach or the things that you wish that you could just go to the park and go play and just do the whole unschooling thing. Now, we are not an unschooling family. I actually think one of these days I might actually do a video on why I have chosen not to unschool my child or my children, but that is not today's video. And however, we do take aspects of that, and I'll kind of explain that in just a minute. If you are looking to try to figure out how to do both the curriculum and the fun stuff and fit it all in, this is that video. So last year, because we moved and we had a lot of things going on, we did try to stick a lot to just getting the curriculums done. We are still playing catch up on a couple of curriculums just because of one thing or another. Some of that I won't get into. Some of it is just because we needed that extra time spent on those curriculums, which I'm okay with. The curriculum is meant to serve our family, not us serve the curriculum. So we mold it to make sure that the kids are learning everything that they need to learn, not necessarily doing just boundless amounts of homework that aren't really serving them. A lot of times when you are trying to fit fun and you are trying to fit fun and a structured curriculum, this can kind of feel like they almost don't match up. And if you went to traditional schooling, if you went to public school growing up, you know that there were some projects that were fun, but then there were some classes that were just boring as all get out. It's the same way with homeschool. Now, over the years, I have done whatever I can to do a couple of things to make homeschool more meaningful and the time that we spend doing things a little bit more meaningful. And so this year, I'm going to continue to implement what works and then integrate some new things to make our homeschool more enjoyable. So this actually comes from the idea in Ecclesiastes that the ability to enjoy our toil is actually a gift from God. And I'm going to pop that up on the screen. And the reason why that's important is because I'm not just wanting to have fun for the sake of so we can have fun. I want to have all that God has made or put in front of us. I want my children to have full access to the gifts of God. And I don't want my own perception and perspective getting in the way because I feel like it needs to be done A, B, and C, and D. I want them to love learning. I want them to steward their brains and their minds and their bodies and all that the Lord has given them for God's glory. And I want them to enjoy the things that God has given them, to look at things with a grateful attitude and to have a mindset to really enjoy things, whether or not it's frustrating or hard or anything else like that, because we have access to be able to do that through fellowship with God, through Christ Jesus. And so because of that, that is what we're going to talk about today. And some things you can change so that it is more enjoyable. So number one way that I try to make homeschool enjoyable is I do not shy away from telling my kids what the purpose of their struggle is, of their certain curriculum, of why you actually need that knowledge base in the first place. Your brain will not and does not retain things that it feels is useless information. Now, you might know a random fact here or there in your semantic memory. That's fine. But it doesn't like putting forth the effort if it feels like there's no point. So a lot of times, the thing that makes it more fun is understanding why in the world do you want to be doing what you're doing in the first place. So like today, I was talking to one of my children and they asked me straight up, they were like, hey, why do I even need proportions? And we started talking about the medical field and how if you have 5 mLs of acetaminophen and a 20 something unit solution, that's going to make a difference on how much you give. Or if you're doing a ratio, or if you're doing architecture, or all of those proportions actually then matter. And those kinds of questions I actually welcome in my homeschool. I welcome them because I want them to realize that their work has a purpose. And that, one, their main purpose should be to please God in everything. And then second, that they're not just learning things to just learn them and then they're done. That each one of the facts that they learned are building blocks that step on each other towards whatever purpose, whatever end goal, whatever career that the Lord ends up putting them in later, that all of those pieces of information have stacked to be useful later on. Now, I know that sounds like a weird way to make homeschool more fun, but if you understand why you are learning what you are learning and you are finding value in it, a lot of times it's a lot easier to find enjoyment in it. Number 2 is a little bit, it's going to sound like unschooling, but this is not unschooling, is finding things that your children are personally interested in. So for me, for example, this year, one of my children organically got into a conversation with a cousin of theirs who was doing, working on the periodic table of elements. And this child came up to me and they were like, hey, can we look at this? Can I start doing this curriculum that you have gotten us and start learning about the elements? And so we actually started a curriculum mid-year called Elements of Faith. I can pop a picture of it up here. It's by Master Books. I got the scratch and dent version for a really good price on one of Master Book sales. And it has been so much fun. We are in Element 4 right now. We did beryllium today, and we are actually really much enjoying it. And it was something that he actually asked for. And even though it wasn't necessarily in our curriculum for the year to do, or it wasn't in my idea of what we were going to do, I easily shifted over because if an organic interest comes up and we have the means to facilitate it, I want to go ahead and go to that. Because if they're showing an interest, if they're showing something that makes them enjoy schoolwork that much more, I'm game, I'm there. And it can start sparking some of the interest that the Lord has just already put into their hearts. Number 3, another thing is working together. So if you have just one kid, this is where co-ops and things become absolutely wonderful, or even if you have extra homeschool friends where you can kind of piggyback and work together on it. If you have multiple children working on something, this is where public school kids sometimes have an advantage because they do have a ton of kids in one class. if you are homeschooling with multiple children, having those children partner up and work together on a project, whether it's cooking, whether it's competing against each other for the answers, whether it's a popcorn quiz, which by the way, those are a lot of fun, it makes the school atmosphere a little bit more competitive. So over the years, if we've been doing a bunch of readers, I will sometimes take like chocolate covered popcorn or the organic gummy bears or something like that, and I will ask them questions and they will actually race, and every time they get it, they get a prize, like a little gummy bear or gummy worm or something like that. And it ends up becoming so much fun because they're actually racing and kind of playing a little game in order to remember the answers that we've gone through on the readers. I definitely want to do more of this year. We didn't get a whole lot of time to do it last year because we kind of had to stick to a lot of the curriculums and move very quickly because we're still building up the new house that we got. Like you can see the paint that needs to get retouched up. And I don't know though, because this room, I think we're going to paint it a different color anyway. So I'm not jumping to do all the touch-ups and stuff yet because I think they want it repainted. So yeah, just excuse my little dots right here. Anyway, but so making it a little bit more competitive, making it a little bit more of a game rather than just bookwork, tests, and quizzes. So another thing is to make homeschool more enjoyable, and this might seem it might seem like a no-brainer, is keeping Christian music playing in the background. Now, this works some of the time in my house because I have one child who tends to want to dance all the time. So if I put Christian music on, there is a possibility that homeschool will then turn into a dance studio. So I cannot do this all the time, and sometimes I have to pull that child in like, we need to do math. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to dance right now. And dancing particularly upsets my German Shepherd. But anyway, is just keeping the environment sometimes with some Christian music in the background to make it more relaxing, more of an enjoyable kind of atmosphere can make all the difference. In homeschool, we have the ability to change the atmosphere at all times. And sometimes that can look like putting snacks on the table while your children are working, or, making cute little fruity drinks or something like that for them while they're working on their homeschool, or if it's a really cold day, making some hot chocolate or hot tea. We have the ability to change the environment and make it more welcoming and more wonderful just by what we serve, what we don't serve, the atmosphere that we create for our homeschool. This can also be the same thing for when you're doing readers. You don't have to make it like they're all sitting at the desk. It can be just a bunch of the kids on the couch, cuddled up beside you in a blanket while they listen to readers. There are so many ways that you can change the atmosphere to make it a little bit more enjoyable and have a little bit more fun. One of the things that we have done is we'll sit on the couch and we will listen to the periodic table song. If you haven't heard it, it's pretty hysterical. And we just sit there and listen to it and watch the YouTube videos of it. So we're learning the periodic table of elements that way. But just changing the atmosphere to where it's enjoyable, it's relaxing, and it's an environment where learning therefore feels like a gift rather than just a chore. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it went a little long. Enjoyment in homeschool is one of those things that I'm super passionate about because I want my kids to be lifetime learners. If you have hung around this long and you have another idea on how to make homeschool more enjoyable, drop a comment down below. If you have a question, feel free to ask. And no judgment on the lack of paint restoring right there. But if you have anything you want to add, please do. I hope you have a wonderful day and God bless you.